Okay, Blake, we're going to wrap up
Yes.
this terrific Tuesday with some trending topics because where do we begin? So much happened over the course of last week to today.
I don't know. There were so many teas you just had, so it's time to spill the tea, and there's just a
Let's
lot.
spill
There's
the
a lot
tea.
To get to.
Okay, TikTok ban.
Yes.
That was all across my feeds, not on TikTok because it was banned for like less than 24 hours.
Yep.
And then it was reversed. So essentially, for people that use TikTok all the time, you were probably met with this sorry, TikTok, isn't available right now, and it would freeze, and like you couldn't scroll, you couldn't even get to your profile.
Yeah.
And people, as you can imagine, mainly younger folks, were losing their mind, going to 911, dialing 911 and saying, like, TikTok is not working, please bring it back. I'm in such despair, like I can't go on with life. So 911 call centers were absolutely inundated. But then quickly, so that happened like Saturday evening, not even at midnight, a little bit before midnight. It was banned, so you couldn't get on the app, essentially. It was taken from the App Store for Apple devices. But then literally, hop, skip, and a jump to a few hours later on Sunday, it was reinstated.
I'm just thinking, like, okay, imagine being at the call center or whatever you call them for 911, whatever you want to call this. And, every other call is like these horrible things, real life horrible things that are happening to people.
Yeah.
And then you're getting the call. I would hang up. I'd be like, no, leave me alone.
Absolutely not.
Like, there's real life problems out there. And listen, I was of the folk who was also upset about TikTok, but I would not call 911 over it, okay?
No.
So that's nuts. That's crazy.
See, here's the thing. I doom scroll at night every single night. I fall asleep scrolling TikTok.
Yeah.
It's just what I do. I know I shouldn't. So I was actually really looking forward to this like fresh start. I was like, maybe I'll actually read my book before I go to bed because it's sitting there right on the bedside table. But I choose my phone instead. And I was like, you know what? The ban will be good. I'll be on my phone less. Really though, I would just get on Instagram. But I was thinking like, okay, this is a good start. And like just mental health wise for kids of all ages that are on TikTok, what you see is not always what you should believe.
My favorite thing was like what people were talking about the one night that they didn't have TikTok. And the best one was like, it was like couples laying in bed and it was like me turning to my spouse and being like, so what do you do for a living?
Yeah. What do you do for like, well, that's a good point that you bring that up because a lot of people, a lot of influencers actually made their careers, their money, they paid for their house, for their family through TikTok. So on that end of things, because let's be real, content creation is, if you're doing it right, it's taking you hours.
Yeah, and we were talking about that this morning in the office. It's like, I know that is an annoying kind of new age thing for a lot of people, but I'm like, it's real. And I mean, that's really what people are doing. And so I'm like, to take away an app like that really does, I mean, it could impact someone's life so negatively, right?
Yes.
I mean, if that is your main source of income. And I'm like, here's my, earlier we were talking about, I mentioned with jobs, everyone choosing their own path. I'm like, listen, if you can do that, kudos to you because this sounds so silly, but it's like just getting the views and the likes and whatever that's required to even get to that level on TikTok takes a lot of work.
It takes
so I'm like, as silly as it sounds, kudos to those people for putting in the time and the effort to be able to make it work and to be able to make their living in that way. Yeah. So then, even though it only lasted for 12 hours or less or whatever it was, like that would be a panic for me of like, okay, what do I do now when this is what I've been doing for the last, fill in the blank amount of years. So it's definitely a little scary.
It is a little scary. So we got a 90-day extension. If Trump and the creator of TikTok can get it sold to a U.S. company.
At least 50%, I think is the goal.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. We have a 90-day extension, so that'll take us well into March, I guess.
One of the funniest things I heard this weekend about the TikTok timeline being off or banned or whatever was someone was like, 12 hours, Jesus was dead longer than that. And that was one of the funniest things I've heard.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's really good. That's really good.
Okay, so yesterday was the inauguration of Donald Trump, and Carrie Underwood was one of the many famous performers. However, her set didn't go according to plan, but I think she played it off perfectly.
Yep.
She was singing America the Beautiful. So you put together a compilation video.
Watch this.
Okay. So here we are. She's getting ready to sing.
So the track comes up, it stops.
Where is it at? We don't know.
And then she sits longer.
Could you imagine?
No, I'd be panicking.
You know the words, help me out here.
And then she's gonna do a cappella.
Beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain.
Beautiful.
Like honestly,
America, America,
like just a heartwarming United We Stand kind of moment.
Absolutely.
They're all singing with her. She's so good.
Yeah, I mean, she did it justice for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I am, you all know, you all know as well as I do, I am not a singer. To go a cappella for that during the technical issues, I mean, that's what every performer should be able to do.
Yeah, it's talent and professionalism. And it also makes me think of, you know, we talk about nowadays, per se, a lot of these talent searching shows and whatever variety, we don't really see a lot of fame come from that anymore. But Carrie Underwood is one of those folks, early days of American Idol, who did succeed very well. And you know, I always think, I'm like, I feel like part of the success right there in that moment was because of her early start performing live every week on American Idol. I always think about Kelly Clarkson too. I think those performers are so good live and in the moment like that because they were faced with such a, not scary, but just that very like live kind of.
We'll do it live.
Yeah, doing it, rolling in the moment, whatever. I'm bad with my words right now, but kind of just going with the flow in the moment because a lot of these other people start out in the studio first and then kind of get in front of people.
Right.
So I almost think like doing the opposite prepares you for things like this.
And this is no shade to like a Katy Perry.
Right.
But like I know Katy Perry would not be able to pull that off as smoothly and as beautifully sounding as Carrie Underwood did. Again, not to diss her, but her live singing is not what you hear on the CDs.
Yeah,
I can't,
for sure.
Katy Perry was the only one that popped into my head, but like, I don't know, I would say that performance is up there with like a Celine.
Yeah.
Doing it live, you know, just off the cuff. So,
well, and also
way to play it off.
I mean, Carrie Underwood's been in the music scene for so long, it doesn't really matter. But it's like also the Inauguration is one of the biggest stages in the world, right? I mean, you've got people from all of everywhere watching versus like, you know, an award show where it's more specific to a certain demographic. You know, everyone's watching this. So that's a lot of pressure too. And then for that to happen, I mean, that's a very quick thinking moment. I've always said one of my strong suits is not thinking on my feet. So like, I don't know if I could do what she did in that moment.
No.
And I can't sing like her either. But
I've taken quite a few improv classes and I would not be able to do that. Okay, my earring is stuck. You want to take this third one, Brittany Mahomes?
Yes. Okay, so.
Speaking of improv.
Here's the thing, you guys. So she made her first appearance post-birth of their third child at the Chiefs game this last weekend, Golden Ray Mahomes. That's who they gave birth to. But here's what's crazy. The baby was born, I believe, on January the 12th.
Yes.
And the game was on the 18th, so it's 6 days apart. 6 days after giving birth to her baby, this is what she looks like on the field.
Beautiful.
And here's what I have to say.
My gosh.
All right? Say what you will about Brittany Mahomes, because she gets a lot of flack. I don't understand it. Couldn't be me. But 6 days after birth, I mean, talk about powerful woman, the things that women can do, and the fact that she supported her husband.
Bounce back.
Tom Turton this morning was like, yeah, but she's a lot of resources. I'm like, not the point. She
That's
still gave
okay.
birth. Yeah.